Well, this video is for you. You asked for it, you shall receive. Now, Hugh Edwards is arguably one of the biggest faces in the whole of the UK right now. Before he was exposed and for being exposed, because he was arguably the face of the BBC, being the biggest anchorman for that broadcaster. However, he has now been plastered all over the news throughout the UK for being the little nonce that could, to say the very least. Now, the amount of heinous stuff this man has done, I can't cover it all in one video because it would be an hour-long documentary. I want to keep this as really as short and sweet as possible. So I'm just going to go over the kind of two most heinous things that he's done collectively, and also the whole court hearing, and also rant about two-tier UK, because that will tie into the Hugh Edwards case as well. Now, Hugh Edwards was caught doing, as I say, a lot of just gut-wrenching stuff, but the first one of them being was paying a 17-year-old and maybe even younger to perform sexual acts via phone calls and texts and emails and imagery and so on and so forth, and this went on for quite some time. In fact, Hugh actually tried to meet up with him at a train station, and this was documented that Hugh was at this train station as well, waiting for the 17-year-old to arrive. And when the parents found out that Hugh Edwards had sent their 17-year-old boy over £35,000 of money for these horrific images of him doing stuff, or videos of him doing stuff, including some video calls on top of that as well, the parents decided to go to the BBC to complain about Hugh Edwards directly to their bosses, or at least someone managing the BBC to a degree. They got absolutely no response, and it wasn't until they reported them to the Sun newspaper of the UK that this started to finally come out. Now, the only thing that kind of strikes me as weird about that is, if my son or daughter came to me and said, "Oh, this big ginormous unfathomably famous celebrity who's pretty much a national treasure is sending me tens upon tens of thousands for sexual images," I would have done things that would have got me a banned on Rumble even for just speaking them, but I would have went to the police instantly. I find it quite funny that the parents of this victim just went and ignored it for so long, and then went to the BBC, left it for a month, then went to the Sun. Again, I don't understand that process. I just go to the police. Again, I don't understand what was going through those parents' heads of the victim of the child. Sorry, the parents who were obviously the child who was a victim of Hugh Edwards. I don't understand that part in the slightest. And of course, the second thing that he was convicted of as well, amongst many other things, was paying a convicted paedophile for images of underagers, allegedly as young as 7 years old as well, and paying a lot of money as well on top of that as well. And of course, once he was finally caught, once he was finally exposed, and he was dragged through courts multiple times, what was his punishment at the end of the day for his absolute beyond heinous, disgusting crimes beyond human comprehension? 6 months of suspended jail sentence. What does that mean? Basically, you're going to jail. Not really. Once you've pretended you've went to jail for 6 months, you won't go to jail. Did that make sense? No, but it makes sense because that's the truth, even though it doesn't make sense. But again, that's the UK in a nutshell. Is just absolute painful. Again, how many times within 2024 alone have we heard of the most heinous crimes being done towards underagers, and they've just gotten away with it? Again, I've made videos on Chris Tyson, again, Dr. Disrespect as well. I've also made videos on the past of the LGTVs, 4K, blah blah blah, so on and so forth, those types of people as well, other predators as well. And their punishments, it seems to be about 10% of them actually get punished, if even that, and the rest just walk away scot-free, pardon the pun, as well. And the other thing, talking about jail sentences and getting away with it, the convicted little nonce that could, who was sending Hugh Edwards underage imagery and videos, also got a suspended sentence, which means go to pretend jail like it never happened. So again, walked away scot-free on top of that as well. And there are a lot of other things that I don't even have the willpower to put him in these videos because, again, it would be an hour long and it's just beyond disgusting and revolting, right? In my opinion, that was the worst 2 out of the many things that that man has been doing for God knows how long. And of course, with the documentaries that were made on Hugh Edwards during this time as well, or just the news articles and news reports on it as a whole, we're trying to blame it on his 2020 drinking problem with his depression. He's also mentally gone. I think they said, and something about his cognitive is impaired as well, so he can't remember doing these things. He didn't remember doing them. He didn't know what he was doing. He was depressed. He was on antidepressants. He was drinking a lot. This wasn't his fault. Again, they tried that with Philip Schofield as well, when he said the infamous line, "Do you want me to kill myself?" as well, because again, people, the whole mainstream media were trying to make out like, oh, he didn't know any better, it wasn't his fault, he was depressed. You know, he just split up with his family because he came out as gay, and you know, this was really hard on him. Don't blame him too much. It's really not as bad as it seems. And a lot of people have been giving him the same treatment. In fact, arguably the biggest cretin in the UK, which is Owen Jones, one of the most extreme far left people out there, who is a window licker on his best day, also had this to say about Hugh Edwards and also the Sun as a whole, trying to expose him for the actual crimes he was actually committing. Let's play that video.
We've had days of relentless focus on Hugh Edwards' private life, including entirely false claims that he engaged in underage sexual activity with a minor. And as the Sun's story fell apart, they tried to look for any old shit to throw at a wall in the hope it'd stick, and all they achieved was driving Hugh Edwards into a hospital.
He's been very quiet since this whole news thing came out about Hugh Edwards being factually correct. Now, when it comes to Owen Jones, I know a lot of you might not recognise his name. I don't blame you. Try and keep it that way, even though I'm going to ruin that and completely contradict myself. But Owen Jones is an absolute beyond cabbage of a human being, and I feel generous even using the word human being in this video in regard to talking about any of these types of people that I've talked about so far. Bear in mind with Owen Jones that this is not his first, second or third or God knows how many times that he has tried his absolute beyond best to defend blatant, you know, fucking Sir Noncelot the Force types of people out there as well. In fact, the person who took Lawrence Fox to court to sue him over what he said, the person who took Lawrence Fox to court, straight after that went on Owen Jones's YouTube channel to do an interview. And he says, the fact that he called me a paedophile, I just want to read gender queer theory to kids in primary school. Nonce. Literal definition of a nonce. You know, fucking Lawrence Fox was 100% correct in you as well. And if you really want to know how much of an absolute cabbage patch of a, again, human being Owen Jones is, he is a massive fan and supporter of Humza Useless. Again, let's just move on from that as well. Now, the fact that Hugh Edwards and the person supplying the content, I'm not talking about the child who is a legitimate victim, I'm talking about the actual child predator, convicted child predator who was sharing these images and obviously using it as a means to get money out of Hugh Edwards, not in a blackmail way, just as in a business way. Hey Hugh Edwards, you want these images? Pay me money, essentially, as well. The fact that they didn't get jailed in any way, shape or form is just absolutely just shows you how beyond broken the UK is as a whole, especially within the justice system. And you wonder why people keep saying two-tier government, two-tier care, two-tier police, two-tier justice system, so on and so forth, just two-tier UK as a whole. If it had been some random guy who's not got any money, no fame, no power, no connections, just an absolutely nobody from some nobody town in Scotland, England, Wales or Ireland or whatever it may be, oh, they would have had the book thrown at them for sure. That would have been 10 years in jail, and their address, their postcode, their family all doxed and everything else in between. They would never be able to live a single second of peace for the rest of their lives. But I find it quite funny when it comes to the BBC people, they seem to get away with it. I suppose the first one did pass away before the news truly broke, that's unfortunate. But again, also bear in mind with the BBC quite recently that one of the other people who was working for the BBC, who was an animal rights activist or a zoologist or something down that line, was exposed for fucking dogs and alligators and many other things on top of that as well. And again, what is it with the fucking BBC and attracting the most cretinous people on the planet? And I feel being polite even just calling him a cretin as well. Again, The fact that these people will not go to jail, but the fact that Wayne, who was the Twitter person behind Sick of It, which was a very beloved Twitter page or overall tweets that he put out for calling out BS and actually exposing the lies and bringing the truth to light, was arrested for 3 years for the crime of literal, rhetoric against the establishment. Again, people have been jailed for waving a British flag outside of mosques, for spicy tweets, and even being near a protest, not even being in the protest, but actually just being near it because they've walked to their house or to or from, they go to the shops or whatever it may be. Oh, mate, you were near a protest, so you're going to jail, innit? Again, it's absolutely beyond disgusting. An absolute broken country, a broken government, a broken leader for the government, a broken police system, a broken justice system. Again, what message does this send out to the people? The police, the government, the justice system, and everyone else who's meant to protect you is not out there to do so. Again, if your pockets are deep enough, the law doesn't apply to you in any way, shape, or form. Also, bearing in mind that your taxpayers paid for Hugh Edwards' case, I'm just putting it out there as well. That was all taxpayer funded as well, but honest to God, I want to go back to the times where if you got caught doing this things, well, you were put in the forever box. I think that was an absolute beyond amazing system. You did something that you cannot recover from. No amount of apologies can reverse it in any way, shape, or form. Off to the forever box, as some of the Americans like to say. I think we need to bring that system back. So I'm getting sick to death of these types of people walking amongst us in public. But sorry if this video wasn't in much of in terms of detailed into Hugh Edwards. He's an absolute beyond disgusting piece of shit, and honestly, he's not human, therefore human rights should not apply to him, and anyone who does the same things as him should have that same treatment applied to them. But I'll wrap the video up. Thank you very much for tuning in. It's greatly appreciated. If you could like, subscribe, hit the bell notification, it would be awesome. I would love every single one of you, and I do love every single one of you who have liked and subscribed and hit the bell notification. Again, thank you very much for the support. Leave a comment down below if you agree, on if you disagree with me in the comments. Don't do that. If you agree or you think I've missed anything of actual key importance, leave me a comment down below. And if you want to follow me on any of my other platforms, all links will be in the pinned top comment as well. If you really want to get a hold of me or just see most of my spicy views and opinions more frequently, on Twitter or in my Discord server, again, links in the pinned top comment. Please go check out my other videos. There'll be more coming on Monday as well. Don't know what I'm going to talk about. I think I might go back to Billy and Keir Starmer because that brings great views and subs and everything else in between on it. But yeah, I love yous all, and as always, keep on rolling. Have a great day and a better week to follow. See yous!